Welcome back, enamel friends. This is hopefully the final third installment of this necklace. Remember back in May when we made this beautiful design, and now comes the day of reckoning where we have to finish making it. And if you watched the previous video, we got the reverse done. And it's looking good. And now we are going to move on to the front of the necklace, which is all of the vivid color. And I'm really looking forward to getting started with this, because this is actually going to be really fun. And I've got all the wires are ready. The bases, as you saw, are good to go. And just picking out one or two colors, just one or two colors for the base. And I spent so much time really choosing exactly the colors that I wanted to do. And so you can see I've got a ton of colors chosen. And this right here is the color of the ribbon that's gonna go all the way through the piece. You can see it kind of goes in a beautiful rainbow thing. I've got rainbows on the brain. In preparation, the reason I made a bunch of earrings, well, this is the single earring that I've made so far, just as really as a color study to see if I was going to like the colors that I've chosen for the piece. You can see here's the drawing, and then here is the sample earring that I've made. And I'm very pleased with the colors of that white flower. Came out really nice. And the background little dots over the black, I think you can really see how they kind of just pop. I have decided to use these are gold, 24 karat gold circles here. And the only change that I really have made is in the background, just a little blue background area. I've lightened it up just a hair. Like, this is a little bit on the cobalt side, and when I went and actually chose my colors, I have switched it to something that's just a little bit, wait, not that one. Oh yeah, here it is. It's going to be a little bit more of a cerulean blue in the center, and it's going to go between a blue and a green. So that is, you can see the background kind of undulates between a green to the blue, to the green, to the blue, to the green, to the blue, and back. So that's going to be represented. So I've made my little sample, I've done the backs, and now the excitement starts. Before I fire any wires down, and remember, there's already one coat of enamel on this. We've got a pale gray here, and then in the ribbon is the opaque black. So we've got one coat down, but I am going to be putting fine silver textured foil in the silver areas, because kind of for two reasons. Everyone's like, Sandra, why are you putting fine silver foil over silver? Why not just add a texture to the silver and move forward? And you could absolutely do that. And I have done that. It really depends on the project. With this one, I love how sparkly the fine silver foil is. I have never been able to get a perfect sparkle on just, even if I, could spend time, doing a fire polish or whatever. It just is never going to be exactly what I want, because I want it to have two things. I want it to have a texture for one, and also be super, super glossy. And to be quite honest, this is always way more glossy, and I've had really good luck with this. So I'm probably not going to use this particular one, but I am going to be using different textures of the silver foil, and I'm going to start. This is, if you remember from the back, I'm actually getting a lot better. I have saved from when I had nothing to do. Well, I had a lot to do with the design, but I had it laser cut, and they send you all the little bits and bobs left over from the laser cutting. So I've picked out the most complicated bits, and I'm going to use these as templates for cutting my silver foil, which will be helpful. And then all the other bits, it's actually just easier I'm going to use an X-Acto and cut those from a template. So I'm going to print out another copy of this and use that to cut out my silver foil. So without further ado, let us begin. I am ready to start cutting some textured silver foil. I've gotten a couple options here. I think I'm going to use this. Look how pretty that is. For the body of our little skink. And these will probably be for the flowers here. I'm not sure. I kind of like, this is a really pretty texture. Haven't decided. Maybe that's going to be part of the butterfly. This one is actually almost like my favorite. Look how that's really neat. Not sure if we're going to find a spot for that, but I like to have lots of options. So yeah, that's probably going to be the butterfly. So we've got that. I've got two ways of doing it. For some of these shapes that are pretty complex, I'm going to trace literally from the piece of silver. That should give me a good size. And for the rest, I am going to, you can see I printed out the design on some tracing paper, so I'll be able to see through and make sure I get the best part of the texture that I want. I'll just use an X-Acto blade to cut it. So I have all of the silver foil on this piece, and you can see I did different kinds of textures depending on where it is. It's just been glued in place. It has not been fired, and there's no enamel on top of it yet because I have one more little area I need to put some foils on that I didn't have to do this on the back. And yeah, we're not revisiting, but we're still, I anticipate this being as much of a challenge as it was. The ribbon on the back is black on black, but on the front, it's going to be all different colors of dots over the black background. And you might be thinking, why did you put a whole black background when you know you're going to put a bunch of little dots? I've had the trouble in the past of knowing I want to do like have a dot, a ribbon of dots and a black or a really dark background. And then I put my ribbon, all my little dots in, and it is so hard to get the black enamel in between all of those little dots. It honestly is just easier to put the background color down first. And then I have the tiniest, I bought this on Etsy. Actually, it makes 1 millimeter size dots. And I'm going to, depending on the shade, this one's gonna have all 24 karat gold dots. I'm actually gonna glue all my little dots of gold foil, you can see I have it here, in place. And then I'll set my wires on top of the gold dots. So that way it will be a little vivid color. You can kind of see, remember our little sample piece, how it kind of just is nice and black like that. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna punch out a bunch of these little guys. I've got my gold foil. This is a little bit thicker than what I normally use, but I like it because it's extra shiny. So 24 karat gold. I'm gonna put some dots in just here. I guess I got a little pile down here, and I'm gonna try to space them just right, one at a time. Yes, well, this will be so much fun. Anyway, this one dot, well, I will struggle with it, and at the end, we'll be right back. And in the moment it takes to finish all of this, this is ready to, I'm going to let it dry, and then I'm going to fire it, and then I'm going to wet pack a clear coat all over that, and then I'll be ready for the wires. And actually, these weren't actually that difficult. Once I realized I could pick up those dots with a little toothpick and just jam them in, it went pretty fast. So hooray, it's like the little things that matter with this. So that's where we are. Welcome back, everybody. It's been no time for you, but it's been 4 days for me since I've worked on this project. I had a wonderful 3-day workshop with Cindy. Thank you so much. We had a great time, Cindy. I love having wonderful students. They make my life so much better. So I had a little reprieve, and now I'm back to this. And man, are we into September now. So I have exactly 1 week to finish this. But let me tell you where I am, because honestly, I can't even remember what the last video was. I have gotten all of the textured silver foil on, and I have placed all of my dots in here. Look how sparkly they are. It looks really nice. I kind of like how it looks. It's very I like the look of it. And you can see I've kind of started the 24 karat gold dots over here. And then right about here, we switch to the silver dots because that's where we're going to have these shades of blue. And I am going to, I have fired this foil, but there's no enamel on top of it right now. So what I'm going to be doing in this next step is I am going to be wet packing. I'm not going to be sifting because I'm going to be doing different colors based on what's going on over here. I made a color Xerox, just a nice clean one of what's happening. And I'm going to start by I got to cover this thing. I'm probably going to do this is just the color of this ribbon. So it's going to be there's not much to it, but it's a lot of color. And luckily I did get all those colors washed. So that is ready to go. So I'm going to wet pack that all the way in. I'm not going to put the wires in yet because I need to get one layer of enamel. And in the areas, I'm probably just going to do that straight up. And then depending on what's happening in each of these areas, I will either wet pack a pale yellow background or a pale blue, or in this instance, I'm probably going to use my really pale platinum. And I'm not going to be using any actual flux, quote unquote flux. No clear enamel for me for the base. We're just going to be using really pale colors. And I don't want to use any flux. So that's what's going to happen today. It's probably going to take a little while. I know, trust me. And of course, because my workshop ended yesterday, it's almost noon today. I took like half a day vacation. Well, I just, had a lackadaisical kind of a morning and just rolled into the studio at 11:30. And on my schedule, I have I'm supposed to get, this part isn't even on the schedule. I'm supposed to do that and glue all these wires in place. We will see. There might be some late nights tonight, but that being said, I best get started. I really like the texture on this butterfly. It's very vivid. So here's my plan. I'm going to put some enamel down. I'm going to do yellow where the butterfly is because that's going to be predominantly yellow. I'm going to do blue in these little areas, and I'm actually going to put down my first coat of color for the flowers just because I want to make sure none of the colors I'm using there are silver sensitive, and so might as well get started with that. And then I'm going to be doing this ribbon, and I'm actually going to, I think, to solve the problem of those little dots shifting around and not having enough space, I'm going to put the enamel down and then jam them in and hope for the best. That's the plan. So very pale colors here, very pale yellow to start with. We're going to let this dry really well and fire it and do all the others just in the same manner. That other one is drying, but this one is out of the kiln, and you can see that I've got the very pale blue here, which I think will be a perfect base for all of my colors. I've got my little dots in there. Some of them are sticking up, but I think I'll be able to kind of just jostle them in. So I'm actually pretty pleased with that. The flowers are getting going. And so I'm going to set this one aside and let's peek at the back. Remember, there's the back. Going to set this one aside and get all of those other pieces up to this stage before we move forward. It's just, I will forget exactly what I did if I try to move forward with this without having done the others. So this is honestly the goal for today. Probably not going to get the wires glued down except for these. Gonna have to maybe do a couple late nights this week. Alrighty, well, let's just keep on keeping on. I have the base coat and those tiny little dots all in place. And you can see that actually I'm kind of in love with these pastel hues, but we're going to brighten this up. This is just the base coat. And you can see in some areas, like this is where our little grasshopper is going to live. And so I kind of went with a little bit of the yellow on one end and the blue on the other. You know, it's going to be a subtle difference. Love what's happening here. But so basically I just got a base coat on the flowers, and this is where the little mouse is going to go. So I did a real pale platinum right there. And we are ready to start gluing all the other wires in place. And just like on the back, I'm going to be using the blue stick glue. I got that right here. It comes pretty thick. Gonna thin it out quite a bit with some distilled water and just get cracking. Today is, what day is it? Wednesday, September 7th. And I am planning on shipping this to its new location on Monday. So what is that? Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Like 4 days, maybe Tuesday. Maybe I'm going to ship it on Tuesday. But, you know, it is what it is. Definitely going to have to burn some midnight oil, as it were. So let me tell you where I am. I've got all of the wires glued down and they have been fired. So you can see that we are ready for literally the thing I've been waiting for 100 years now. The color, doing all of the color. And you can see, remember the back? It seems like so long ago. And so I'm super excited about starting the colors. So I've got most of my colors washed. I'm probably going to spend a little bit of time making sure I've got all the right colors ready to go. And the one thing I'm going to do before I get started is I'm going to really carefully, because this is super delicate right now, because, you know, these wires are just kind of barely hanging on there because there's not much enamel. I am going to string it up and make sure that I've got, because of course, you know, the way it is you think that these pieces would be exactly the same, but they're not. They've been kind of adjusted to fit only in one way. So if I've accidentally flip-flopped any of these pieces that are identical, I say that in quotes, it may not lay properly. And yeah, it would kind of suck if I had to pick out some. Really, the only thing that would be different is on this side we've got the gold dots and on this side we have the silver dots. But I would rather find that information out before I put any color on this, because once I've got the color on, you know, that's the gig is up as far as it goes. So I'm going to be really careful, and I'm not even going to do it on the camera because I just need to really focus about it. But trust me, we will be back very shortly and get some color on this thing. I am officially ready to start the color, and I am going to start on the big one. Might as well do the most complicated thing first. And I have you can see over here are the colors just for this one piece here. And I've also got, it actually took a while to kind of get my head around it because I've got several things going on. Here's my drawing, my reference, and this is basically just kind of concerning itself with the color of that ribbon. And I have all these notes that I took from when I did the flower sample. So I've got that in my head. We don't need the back. And then I've got all the stuff that's going on over here. And so I just had to, and of course I had what I thought was olive, but I forget that there's three enamels that are called olives, and I had the Old Thompson one. So I had to wash some fresh 164 olive, and I also ground and polished some fresh, my new favorite color is this forget-me-not, but it has to come from lump. And no offense, but it takes a while. It probably took me like 25 minutes to grind that lump enamel. But it's all done now, and I made a lot of it, so I should be able to get through the whole thing. So let's get started. We're going to let this dry and fire it and see where we are. 1 down, 13 to go. Well, this is the hardest, but also just the very first coat. So, but it's a nice start. Well, all right. We have the first coat of color on all of the pieces. That was an endeavor, and it's working out pretty good. I'm the first coat is kind of the hardest, the most challenging, because you actually have to finalize the decisions that I came up with. I've got all these notes of what's happening, and even right when I'm on the ground, when I'm trying to figure things out, I'll make some last minute adjustments, because I'll be like, what was I thinking when I was going to do 546 blue and I really should do whatever blue? But so I've made just a few really minor switcheroos, and so that was great. And it took a long time to get all this on. But, I'm liking the direction that it is going. And I think that it is, staying pretty true to the color palette. I did end up going a little bit more vivid with the blue and the green backgrounds, but I knew I was going to do that anyway. So that is pretty much all I have to say. Now it's just a matter of going through, all the colors the foundation of the colors is all laid down. Especially in this area, there's a lot of finessing to be done. This one, obviously, I've got the black of that butterfly, but we've still got the vivid oranges to put in, but I wanted to get that black down first. And then the same goes for our little bee friend I really wanted to make sure that he's going to have a really dark blue background, but I didn't want that to creep under, so I just didn't do that in that particular one. And so it's just going to be a matter of going around and getting another coat. They remember the back. The back seems like a year ago, honestly, quite honestly. It does. So I'm excited. And to be honest, it's kind of funny because these are really exciting to do because they're all so unique and there's a lot of fun things. But once I kind of hit this stuff, I'm like, it's not a slog per se, but it's kind of like, oh yeah, more flowers, more background, and some dots. So, but we are just going to continue along and get the next coat on. Here we have 2 coats of color on every single piece, and it's looking good. I'm feeling pretty good about the color. There's a few areas where I'm going to punch up the color. For example, this little guy he's going to have a little bit more orange around here, and I've got to add the little kind of fuchsia dot there. Our friend, the grasshopper, is looking good. And I'm going to do a little bit of finessing on our little guy here, but he's looking good as well. And I'm going to punch up some of the lighter areas. And for the most part, oh yeah, and this little guy, I feel like he's like the sleeper hit. I love this little guy. He's real cute. So we are going to continue up. I bet we have about 2 more coats over the whole thing. And in the areas I'm going to punch up the color, I'm going to do that. But for the most part, I am going to switch to, over the green areas, I'm going to switch to a very pale yellow, Ninomiya, of course. And over the blue areas, I'm going to switch to a very pale blue, Ninomiya, of course, H55. The flowers, I'm going to keep going with the translucent white until we get to the top. I got to do another coat of the background color on this little guy, but then we'll switch. You can see he needs a little bit more. He's probably going to take 3 more coats to get all the way to the top. And so, oh yeah, and then all the little ribbons, they're very subtle, these little ribbons. We're going to keep going with 1 more coat of the color over those as well. So it's all exciting. It's coming together. He's kind of lost in translation a little bit, but a little spider friend. But there, yeah, it's all coming really good and making progress. It is, let me tell you the date. It is September 10th. This is due September 15th. So I am going to get hopefully all the enameling done because it should be like bada bing, bada boom. Should get that all done today. And then hopefully tomorrow I will start grinding and polishing, which is kind of the big unknown. I literally have 2 days scheduled for that to happen. And pretty much also have to remake that class, but there's just so much to be done still. So here we are. And there we go. So exciting day ahead. Might as well get started. Very exciting news. We are finally done with all of the addition of the enamels. I did 2 coats of the top and we're right at the top of the wires. And so now begins the day of reckoning, or 2 days of reckoning, the grinding and the polishing. So we can see we've got all our little friends are ready. We've got our butterfly. Let's see. These guys. It's going to be exciting. I'm going to put these all together. Oh, and our little spider. Look at him back there. So my plan for grinding and polishing, let's see. It is a puzzle, and you'd think I would have it memorized by now, but no. There we go. Hold on. This one, it's real cute. That one goes like that. This one, this one, this one, this one. There we go. We got it. So let me tell you the plan, because I am so down to the wire as far as time is. I'm probably not going to do a ton of actual videos of this process. I'm really just going to explain what I'm going to be doing, and then I'm going to do it, and I'll take some still photos. Just, it does, no offense, it slows me down a lot to do videos. There we go. Beautiful. So my plan is we're going to start by grinding and polishing the back. And I'm not going to do a full finish on the back. I'm just going to make sure, get it all nice and cleaned up. And, there might be a few divots. I'm not going to worry about that too much. It's more about just getting the glass off the silver bits, like revealing the design and cleaning it up. And then I will then switch to the front. And I'm probably going to use for the grinding, because, it's convex or concave. I can never remember what that one is. I'm not going to be able to use my big grinder on that because I'm not going to be able to get into it. So I'm definitely going to be using one of these. So I'm going to be just carefully using my different diamond grit sanding discs and a lot of water to get this all cleaned up. And then when I do this, I'm probably going to do it on the big grinder just because it'll go a lot faster. So yeah, that is the plan. But yeah, I'm excited about it. I love this little guy. He's like, on this one, he's like, oh, I'm just a sweet little grasshopper, but he's like a ghost grasshopper on this side. So anyway, exciting. Let's just move along, and hopefully we'll finish it in the next 2 days. Well, it has to be finished in the next 2 days. So there we go. We are an hour into this process, and it's going great. You know what? I've got I've done the first grind on the exterior, and I've made the first pass on the edges. But you know what? I realized that I woefully underscheduled this process. I think I thought to myself, certainly, Sandra, 1 hour per piece. Even that was running me to the end of the clock for this. But yeah, I'm an hour in, and it's probably going to be more like 2 hours for this piece. And there's 14 pieces. And yeah, these are a little bit smaller, but to be honest, it's all this edge work that's taking a long time. So I'm not, I can mail it, I can add, it's just bad scheduling on my part, because I wish that I had an extra week, because my intellect is saying this needs to be done properly. And actually, I am going to be doing it properly. And if I make, it's a very stoic philosophy. You know what? I can only control the things that I can control, which is I can't make time slow down or go faster. I want to do it right. So we'll see, honestly, if we meet this deadline. And also, it's not just this deadline. Oh my gosh, I've got like 4 commissions that are due on Friday, which I haven't even started, and I'm gonna have to like let them know that their pieces are gonna be late. And then I scheduled a dinner party for Friday, the first one in over a year, and I'm like, why was I thinking I was gonna have all this free time? So there's just a lot going on. Probably TMI, but you know what? I am enjoying it. I'm here to make the best piece of artwork that I can, not to win an award. So I've just decided I would rather I don't want to rush, and I don't want to do a half-assed job coming so far into the 11th hour and then not finishing it to the proper specifications that would make me feel pleased with it. So I'm going to go with quality over anything else, take as much time as I need, and that's just going to be it. But you can see I've done this. I'm excited about this, and I'm actually about to do a little bit more in the back, and then I'm going to flip over and get the front done and keep going with that. So exciting times. It's super exciting to see this kind of like re-emerge with all the silver. So that's where we are. Going to keep on going. It is coming along. Definitely. Oh, getting excited. So I've got most of the big polish and the fine polish done. I'm going to, on this single piece. And the next step is I'm going to give it a really good wash, and I'm going to fire it in the kiln and then do a little bit more polishing on it. So that is the plan. Good morning, everybody. It is Monday, September 12th. And man, I woke up in the middle of the night and my finger was just throbbing. I definitely don't normally spend a full 9-hour day without stopping, grinding, and polishing. And to be honest, whoever designed this, literally, it's the least ergonomic thing I've ever encountered. And I know that quick change one is a little bit more comfortable, but I always use these 1/8" shanks that don't fit that. So I've going to take it a little bit slower. I've actually cleared my calendar. I'm still doing the dinner party, but I didn't cancel. I've postponed all my Etsy orders, and I just gave my sad regrets and let them know, because I just need to focus and not worry about the next thing. So that being said, I am going to take a nice slow day and just methodically, I've got the backs are pretty much done, and I'm just about to flip these over and walk them all over to the big grinder. And that will certainly be a lot nicer to do these on the large grinder, because they'll go up pretty darn fast. And honestly, the goal for the day is to do all of the grinding and polishing and get up to the fire polish stage. That would be perfect. So, because I still have to refabricate the clasp, which I'll do tomorrow. And there we go. There we have it. Look at this little guy. So sweet. We're getting so much closer. Yeah, I called my mom. I was talking to my parents on Sunday nights. And I'm like, hey, Mom. She's like, have you finished the necklace yet? And I'm like, oh, my. And then she's like, let me put your dad on the phone. And my dad's like, hey, how's it going? Have you finished that necklace yet? And I'm like, can everyone just slow your roll on the necklace? So, but my parents assure me that whatever I do, it will be beautiful and that they love me. So, you know what? That's all that matters. So let us get started for the day. Well. Making progress. We are pretty much ready. I've got all of these. They are good on the front and the backs, and all that remains to do. Well, so many things remain to be done, remain to be doed. But I'm feeling so much better than I was this morning because I made a lot of progress and feeling good again about this project. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to give these all a really good washing. And then I'm going to fire them in the kiln and then maybe a little bit more polishing. And then we will be done. Almost done. So that is where we are at. Welcome to September. It is Wednesday, September 14th. And yes, I've had a busy couple of days. It was touch and go for a while, touch and go, but it is finished. I wish I'd had a couple more days for a little bit more finessing, but you know what? I'm going to say that I am pleased with the results and I am ready to, are you ready for the big unveiling? I bet you are, seriously. So let's do it. Dun, 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 dun. Here it is. It is all done. I spent an hour making this box. So I didn't make the box itself, but I did the insert for the box because I'm going to be shipping it. I'm going to finish up this recording literally and then pack it up and take it over to the FedEx guys. So I finished it yesterday at about 6 p.m. and I feel like I wish I could just enjoy it for a day or two before I ship it off. But, you know, it's all good. Part of me is a little sick of looking at it, so it'll be good to get it out of my life for a while. But anyway, here it is. And you can see that I will flip it over so you can see the back, but that is it. And I've taken some photos of it as well. And then the back, see if I can flip it over onto the back. You can't wear it double-sided. It's because of the way that, I guess you could, it would lay really strangely. And here is the back. And all in all, I am very pleased with how it came out. I have a very long laundry list of things I learned and things I will do differently the next time, but that's always the case. You know, the moment you know everything, it stops being, you know, there's no reason to get out of bed if you know everything. So I'm super excited about what's going to happen for the next project. You know, it's always like, in fact, I stopped this the other day and I did some sketches because I bought that stone and I've got some ideas for it. But yes, here it is. And I am done. Done. So thank you so much for going with me through this project. I've never actually shared a project like this as I was doing it with videos and stuff. And I kind of had, I enjoyed it. If you enjoyed this style of video, following along with the big project, let me know. Or if you hated it, let me know. We are going to be going and doing some more basic things in the next. I think I promised somebody that we're going to do some very basic red, oranges, and pinks for the next project. So get excited about some red, oranges, and pinks next. And thanks again for supporting me on my Vimeo channel. Take care, everybody.